Actually, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's great. I was cast, I think, and I think I got this right. It's 19 years ago. But I was cast in another part. And a part of a one scene role with Mary McDonnell. And I had it, and I think I was going, and I think it was in episode 12. And then they called me up and they said, they're shooting 13 and we've lost an actor and we're changing your part. We want you to come and play this part, which was the one I did. It's an interesting thing. What happens is that they had an actor here in LA for the part that I eventually played. Evidently a wonderful guy, wonderful actor. He had to cross the border into Canada to do it. And he was not an American, and his immigration status was up in the air. And so he crossed into Canada, and the Canadian immigration threw him back to the States. And then because they became aware, this is the story I was told. The American immigration threw him back to his original country. So it was this horrible situation. And because the poor guy, A, lost a job, and B, lost his, immigration position. And so the upshot of all this was that I get a call and said, I think it was tomorrow morning, it may have been, we need you tomorrow morning to do this part.
Wow.
So I was in the pool because they had already cast me for something else. And so I went. And on almost no notice, I did that part.
Okay. So in terms of the lines and in terms of the scenes, in terms of the action and getting to know who is going to be beside you on set or something, you're almost going in blind, I imagine.
A little bit, but I mean, in a way that's the guest star's life. You'd usually have a lot more notice, but that's the guest star's life, is that folks, they're the people who are the regulars on any TV show. And it's like being on a regular job where you go in and you see everybody every day, and they've all got their things, they've got their relationships, they've got their friends and so forth. But if you're a guest star, you're coming in and you're the new guy, and you may be only coming in for a day, and that goes two ways. Either it's, oh, there's somebody new and we're bored with each other, and so people are really nice. Or you're the new guy, and there's nobody, there's not a lot of connection with the other folks. But that's okay. I mean, the actor's life is to come and tell the story as well as you can using what's going on. And sometimes that is all connected. For example, this part was an outlier. All the scenes are about, you're representing the rebels, and we want to kill you and tell us the truth. It was all very antagonistic. And I'm not saying that set was antagonistic in any way, shape, or form, but to be a stranger in a strange land worked. So.
And Paul, in terms of that role that you were prepping for with Mary McDonnell, and obviously that having that sort of scene with her and all and getting yourself in the mindset and the character for that, to put that aside, were you thinking to yourself, oh my God, I wonder, is this new role going to be better than the one that I had
It was
offered?
3 more days of work.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was fine by me. It was a much better paycheck. So no, there is no actor on the planet that doesn't want to get bumped up to the better part. So no, it was fine. And Mary is great. I ended up having a scene with her in the other role, in the role I finally did play. Wonderful actor.
And I suppose we always talk, and these sort of hit TV shows, sci-fi show, they always have the head of the pack, and in terms of the head honcho, the head lead, that has his footprint stamped on over everything in terms of the production and in terms of everything in ship's top shape and in terms of order. And Eddie Olmos was the head honcho in terms of Battlestar Galactica. His footprints were on everything. And did you see Eddie's influence when you arrived there in terms of Battlestar Galactica, in terms of like this is an Eddie Olmos production in terms of that? And
I mean, in actual fact, I didn't look it up. He may have a producer credit. It probably does. Yeah, you do, and that's to be expected. The stars of these things have a lot riding in them, and so they want as much control as possible. And Eddie, the little bit of contact I had at him, he projects that quietly. He's a very good actor, very intense actor. I played an intense scene with him. But yeah, that's absolutely right. And it was interesting. If you're on a set and you say, "Oh, well, do I wear these glasses or do I not wear these glasses?" He said, "Oh yeah, go ahead," right? It's funny because if you're doing a stage play or you're doing a film, and you have the authority, the person who makes a decision is the director. If you're doing TV, it's a little bit different. The director is more there for the technical aspects, and the people who are dealing with content are the producers and the writers. It's a writer's medium, really. And if you notice, a lot of the producers of television are actually the people who wrote it. That's a regular transition. A person writes a whole series and they become the showrunner. They become the producers, and they're around, and so you have to think in terms of that. And so Eddie, in that position, it was natural to go to him.
Yeah. And I suppose, Paul, and I suppose you've been around movies and TV series where you've seen terrific sets and you've seen sets of great detail, you've seen stunts, great sort of stunts. But I imagine walking into the studios and the lots of Battlestar Galactica and seeing all the detail to try and make that so futuristic. Did it sort of take you back for a minute? Did you take a deep breath and sort of observe your surroundings in terms of yourself? Or I know, speaking to a few guests, they actually got lost in set because there were like big, massive Harrier bays. It was so big that they could.
It was very big. It was very big. There was a couple of stages, and they. And the funny thing, I've done a lot of sci-fi. I did Caprica, which is the prequel to this, playing a judge. Anyway, the science fiction, it's not a reality. It's an idea. And there's a saying, if you're a theater actor and you get to do a movie, you get to do TV for the first time, you think, "Oh, finally, I'm going to be dealing with reality. Finally, this is real, right? Because we're photographing this. It's real." And then you go on a movie set, or you go on a TV set, and there's nothing that looks more fake, off the eye of the camera than a movie set. It just looks, oh my God, right? And then they photograph it and look at this, it looks real. Also, the other thing is that in a sci-fi thing and in Battlestar, you have a set which is visually expanded by CGI, right? So what actually is getting shot on the studio floor, it looks a hell of a lot different than what we see on the screen in the end. And I thought that they were doing a really great job of giving you visual value economically. I thought it was a good set. It was a very good set and nice details. Is Battlestar a popular show in Europe?
Battlestar is very popular. The two biggest sci-fi shows to come out of Canada are Stargate SG-1 and Battlestar Galactica. When people in terms of Europe, the two biggest sci-fi shows to come out of Canada and probably in America that are replayed all across Europe on numerous occasions would be Stargate SG-1 with Richard Dean Anderson. And
I was on it. I was on it too. I kept going in and out of Vancouver.
Yeah. So they're the two biggest ones to come out of Vancouver: Battlestar Galactica and Stargate SG-1. They will be replayed for the next 20 or 30 years anyway in terms of that. So you'd actually see more Stargate SG-1 in Europe and Britain and Ireland than you would see MacGyver on TV. Would you believe it or not?
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Well, and I also I very much liked the Caprica Battlestar Galactica arc of them having a planet and losing the planet, and then they're all floating around in space looking for a new planet, and they finally come to Earth, and that's the Earth story. It's a great story.
Mm.
You know, it's a great sci-fi idea.
And Paul, before we came on air, you mentioned a project that you have in the works in terms of a movie that has just been released. There, all our Irish viewers, listeners, moviegoers can go check it out. You might enlighten us where we can see Paul Perri in their cinema screens at the moment.
Well, I think it's streaming now, but and I don't know how they released it in Europe or when. It's a Michael Keaton film called Knox Goes Away, Knox, and also directed by Michael Keaton. It's the second feature he's directed, and he plays a hitman who has dementia, and interesting. And I'm in that playing his doctor, and I had a great time. He was wonderful. He was wonderful as a director, and he was wonderful as someone to play opposite.
Okay. And Paul, for the final 30 seconds, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to ask you, maybe you could provide a unique story or a memory that is particular to you from your time on the set of Battlestar Galactica that makes you laugh, that makes you smile, that maybe brings a tear to your eye, or makes you very angry when you think about it, or makes you vexed, someone rubbed you up the wrong way, or something that was unique or personal to you that you might like to share for us for the final 30 seconds.
Oh, I don't know. I had a great time. And it was, oddly enough, Mary McDonnell, a wonderful actress, a great person. Her husband and I had gone to drama school together. And I went up to, and I didn't know her. I knew Randy, her husband, but I didn't know her. And I went up to her to say hello, to say, hi, how's Randy, this kind of thing. And she assumed I was one of the producers. And so we had this weird conversation, but then I said, no, I'm acting in the show. And I know, I went to school with Randall. So, but she was lovely. And I re-watched the scene I had with her. There's a scene in a jail cell, and it's beautiful work, beautiful, simple and nice, and she really held it. I thought it was great. That was the nicest thing I thought from that whole shoot.